Hi, I'm Dave Karger. Thanks for staying with me tonight on TCM. Up next is another movie featuring an Oscar-nominated song with lyrics by the great Sammy Cahn. From Warner Brothers in 1964, Frank Sinatra and his Rat Pack pals star in Robin and the Seven Hoods. Set in Prohibition-era Chicago, this clever parody of the classic Robin Hood legend stars Sinatra as a gangster boss who accidentally earns a reputation as a major philanthropist. The cast is also led by Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and Bing Crosby, all of whom get a chance to showcase their musical talents, performing songs written by Sammy Cahn and Jimmy Van Heusen. One of the numbers earned an Oscar nomination for Best Original Song, My Kind of Town, which Frank Sinatra introduced in this film. By this point, Sinatra had already introduced several other Sammy Cahn songs that earned Oscars and nominations, including I Fall in Love Too Easily, The Tender Trap, Three Coins in the Fountain, All the Way, and High Hopes. That tune made its debut in the 1959 comedy A Hole in the Head and won Sammy Cahn and Jimmy Van Heusen the Oscar for Best Original Song. 1 year later, High Hopes became the official song for John F. Kennedy's presidential campaign. Tragically, it was during production on Robin and the Seven Hoods that President Kennedy was assassinated. His close friend Frank Sinatra was about to film a funeral scene in the movie, but when he got the news, he insisted that production stop for several days. Another delay followed a few weeks later when Sinatra's son, Frank Jr., was kidnapped and held for ransom. The kidnappers were quickly caught, and thankfully Sinatra's son was returned unharmed a few days later. But the ordeal made it difficult for Sinatra to finish the film. Still, to see the finished product, you'd never guess any of this was going on behind the scenes. It's a delightful Rat Pack musical comedy teaming Sinatra with some of his closest friends. From 1964, directed by Gordon Douglas, also with Peter Falk, Barbara Rush, and a cameo from Edward G. Robinson, Robin and the Seven Hoods. Robin and the Seven Hoods was the last musical feature film for Bing Crosby, and it marked a reunion with Frank Sinatra, who had co-starred with Crosby in the 1956 musical High Society. Originally, Robin and the Seven Hoods was supposed to be directed by another of Sinatra's former co-stars, Gene Kelly. The two had been good pals when they starred together in musicals at MGM in the 1940s. But with Sinatra serving as producer this time around, the dynamic with Kelly was different. It quickly became apparent that their working styles clashed. Gene Kelly was a meticulous craftsman, while Sinatra was more interested in having a good time. Even before production began, Kelly dropped out and was replaced by Gordon Douglas, a director whose style was a much better fit for Sinatra. Coming up, Frank Sinatra returns in a romantic comedy from 1955, co-starring Debbie Reynolds and featuring an Oscar-nominated title song by Sammy Cahn and Jimmy Van Heusen.
Next on TCM, The Tender Trap, then Anchors Away, and later, It Happened in Brooklyn. TCM's got a bridge to sell you tonight.